Tonight, shot down. Police opened fire on an armed man after a dramatic carjacking at Oxley. We're live to the scene with the very latest.
Yeah, he sort of jumped out of the car pretty quick and we were quick to notice that he had a pretty big knife on him.
He was waving his arms everywhere, thinking it was blaming the other guy for the accident.
Easter's dead end. No matter where you turn or where you go, Queensland Police have a word of warning that'll put the brakes on any holiday plans. Kicking the curve to the curb. The number of new corona cases slips to below 100 and health bosses say that's exceptional. Home from Harold, Australians touched down in Brisbane after a mercy mission to free them from the cyclone-ravaged Pacific Islands. And game on, the NRL sounds the whistle to restart play, but our Premier says don't gear up just yet.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. We're going to start tonight with a developing situation at Oxley. This afternoon, a man was shot by police after a dramatic chain of events. Let's go to Chris Campy, who's at the scene. Chris, what do we know so far?
Georgie, quite simply, this was a traffic cop's worst nightmare, and an experienced one at that, who was the single police officer in a vehicle that was forced to respond when what initially started as a traffic accident escalated quite dramatically. It ended in a bloody mess here in the park behind me when the man was shot down by police who said they had no other choice. It started with a stolen vehicle and a man colliding with another slow-moving vehicle in Oxley Station Road. The man who was in the stolen vehicle then leapt out and tried to carjack two other vehicles, threatening a young woman. A man tried to defend her. He was then nudged by that stolen car and lucky to escape injury. We understand the man allegedly then fled carrying a knife. It was at that point, further down Oxley Station Road, that he charged at that officer who was pursuing him and trying to negotiate with him. And it was at that point that that officer says he had no other choice.
Yeah, he sort of jumped out of the car pretty quick and we were quick to notice that he had a pretty big knife on him. He's got into a bit of a fight down the road and tried to steal another car. He's hit someone in the car.
And he come running down here. He nearly got run over by a car. There's cars coming up this side of the road, and I thought he was going to hit by a car because at one stage I think he was trying to get in the car.
It's my understanding that the officer attempted to negotiate with the man. I understand that he discharged a taser. It's my understanding that that was not successful. He was then threatened with a knife where he feared for his safety, and he discharged a number of rounds from his police-issued pistol. The man was struck a couple of times in the torso.
That man was provided first aid by attending officers before being taken to hospital, where he is still in a critical condition. Of course, any police shooting is investigated by the Ethical Standards Command, as this one will be. That officer involved, a experienced road policing command officer, will also get all the support he needs as police continue to investigate this shooting here in Oxley this evening.
Thank you, Chris, there with that update. There are warnings for all Queenslanders tonight. If you leave the state from midnight tomorrow night, you won't get back without a permit. Authorities are tightening the borders to also force anyone into self-quarantine for 2 weeks if they travel to known hotspots interstate.
A last warning on the eve of a long weekend.
Queenslanders, please do not go to New South Wales for a holiday. This is no time to be travelling past the border.
Because travelling home just got harder.
If you're coming back into Queensland and you're a Queenslander, you're not immune to the stricter border controls.
From midnight tomorrow, every Queensland resident will need a permit to return to the Sunshine State.
The previous arrangement had been, if you were driving a Queensland registered car, then you didn't need a border pass. If you're a Queenslander, you need a border pass now.
There are now tougher quarantine rules too for anyone who's travelled through certain areas in New South Wales, like Greater Sydney.
Anyone going to a hotspot as of midnight tomorrow night, when they return, will need to be in quarantine for 14 days.
Extra police will also be targeting non-essential travel around the southeast, using a quick rego check to identify where drivers are from.
We will generally know their address before we pull them over. We can make those checks as we conduct our operations.
The penalty, a $1,300 fine.
It's a fine for everyone in the car too, so if you've got 4 people in the car, that's 4 fines.
3 Gold Coast beaches have already been closed, but patrols will be ramped up along the entire coastline.
Stay home and stay out of the Gold Coast.
And escaping north isn't an option.
So if people are thinking that the Gold Coast is a bit harder, so I'm going to all head to the North Coast, they shouldn't assume that there won't be police up there also checking their movements up there.
All major car parks at Sunshine Coast beaches from Maroochydore to Noosa will close.
It's effectively locals only. If you can't walk there, don't get in your car to get there.
The tougher restrictions come as Queensland recorded just 10 new cases overnight, continuing the state's steady trend. But we're being reminded this is just the beginning, and the big test will be the Easter break.
It is not over. We are a long way from it being over.
A way of life, potentially, for many months.
And Claire Barnes joins us now. Claire, there's been a controversial exemption for a funeral to take place.
Georgie, up to 80 mourners were allowed to attend the funeral of an Indigenous elder in central Queensland this morning. The service was given the green light by the Chief Health Officer, Jeanette Young, despite these strict rules limiting the number of people at funerals to 10.
This is a very significant elder for that community who has died, and normally they would expect many, many hundreds, if not thousands of people to attend. So right from the word go, they significantly limited the number of attendees.
The decision to grant an exemption to the funeral in Mackay is wrong. It's important that the rules are applied equally and consistently to everybody in Queensland.
Well, the Chief Health Officer says that this service was held outside and a number of social distancing measures were in place. Georgie?
Thank you, Claire, at State Parliament. The news keeps getting better by the day from the nation's top health officials. For the first time in 3 weeks, the daily number of new coronavirus cases has slipped below 100, which the Health Minister says is exceptional.
In the nation's gruelling fight against COVID-19,
the curve continues to flatten.
The Health Minister says we're winning.
This is the first time in over 3 weeks that fewer than 100 people have been added to the list of those with coronavirus.
The number of confirmed cases, lives lost and hospital admissions all tracking the right way.
All of those numbers are down from where they have been at their peak. That's an exceptionally important development for Australia.
We've also arranged flights to bring stranded Australians home.
To Peru, Argentina and South Africa. Those planned Qantas flights which are anticipated to take place over the next week.
Initially from 3 countries, but possibly more to come.
The lack of support and regard that we've been given only up until recently.
But those who are still overseas are being reminded not to rely on the government's help in getting back.
If you want to come home now by whatever means possible.
One of the nation's top doctors has assured we now have enough ventilators to cope with an influx of cases, with a target of 7,500, nearly triple the number before the pandemic. And the government says we're also making gains in addressing the shortage of qualified staff to operate them.
We have had over 12,000 registered nurses enrol in our online upskilling to enable them to manage critically unwell patients.
Modelling based on Australian figures to be released in the coming weeks could be more good news.
That will be one of the contextual elements that allows us to determine which restrictions to lift and in what order to do so.
But
we've got a long way to go.
And this Easter weekend could determine how quickly life returns to normal.
The virus does not take a holiday. Therefore, none of us can relax in what we do.
The only relaxing should be at home. Amber Austin-Wright for 10 News First.
Several mercy missions are underway tonight to bring home Australians stranded overseas. It's not just from coronavirus hotspots. One flight has already touched down in Brisbane, repatriating residents from the cyclone-ravaged Pacific Islands.
Back in Brisbane after a mammoth journey that took them halfway around the world. 44 Australian residents living in Samoa relieved to return home, repatriated on a joint mission with the US government.
Hello.
There were no emotional reunions with loved ones. All were taken straight to hotels where they'll spend 14 days in mandatory quarantine. It will be lonely but safe. Cyclone Harold has torn through the Pacific Islands. The Category 5 storm flattening villages and leaving devastation in its wake across the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu and Fiji.
Between Tropical Cyclone Harold and the global COVID-19 pandemic, our economy and our people have been dealt two body blows.
The Australians who stayed behind will be looked after by the government.
If I haven't been able to reach you or we haven't been able to get in touch with you yet, rest assured we will continue to do so.
But our Foreign Minister is urging anyone overseas to get home.
If you want to come home now by whatever means possible. That continues to apply.
The federal government is sending supplies to areas hardest hit by Cyclone Harold. A defence plane left today delivering vital equipment to Vanuatu. Aid agencies are mobilising too. Hundreds of hygiene kits are on the way.
So these countries aren't new to disasters, and the governments in these countries are well versed in how to coordinate assessments and a response.
To support our neighbours battling the coronavirus crisis and an unfolding weather emergency. John Paul Gonzo for 10 News First.
Cardinal George Pell has remained within the grounds of a Sydney seminary. Our National Affairs editor Hugh Remington explains what the next steps are for the Cardinal.
Well, I'm being told George Pell is not short of options. He arrived here at the Good Shepherd Seminary last night in Sydney after the long drive north from Melbourne. He remains, of course, a divisive figure both in the Catholic Church and in the broader community. But I'm being told by senior Catholics today not to underestimate how high his standing remains, particularly among conservative Catholics. Don't forget, this was a man who got to number 3 in the church hierarchy. He was in charge of the Vatican's finances. I'm being told today there is little prospect he will get at the age of 78 that job back again. But he does have a PhD from Oxford University. He'll go to one of the Catholic colleges there in Britain, perhaps to the Australian Catholic University, where he has strong support. And don't forget, I'm being told, that there is a strong body of conservative Catholics in the United States, and many of them see him as a martyred figure because of his time in jail on those charges. Around here in this neighbourhood, there's a range of views about him being in their streets.
Where else is he going to live? He can't live on the streets and doesn't want to live in Melbourne, apparently, so he's come to a quieter area.
And I'm happy to hear that he's free and he can live a happy life now.
We're not real happy at all, and I've never seen him only on the news. So yeah, that's as close as I really want to get to him.
Well, one senior Catholic figure told me today that whatever job he might take up from here, or even if he takes up no official post at all, he will remain a player. If Pope Francis, for example, was to die any time in the next few years, then such is George Pell's standing still among conservatives in the church that he's likely to be a figure lobbying for the next pope to be a more conservative figure. There is one other element in play, of course, and that is the remaining still censored elements of the Royal Commission report, those pages of that report that deal with George Pell when he was an active churchman here in Australia. The Attorney General Christian Porter is consulting to see if he can release those pages of that report. I'm being told today that he is taking only legal soundings on that point. He is not interested in the views of politicians and certainly not interested in the views of the Catholic Church itself.
Legacy has issued a mission to us all. We'll have the details for you later in tonight's bulletin. Also, a frantic dash from almost certain death, the hero officers who saved a young boy from a burning home. Plus, popping up so you can pop down, the new way to stay clean without getting your hands dirty.
MasterChef.
It's back, it's better, it's beautiful.
The most exciting season ever.
Feel-good TV at its best.
Mind-blowing food from day one.
Inspiring, extraordinary.
One of the best seasons in the history of this competition.
It's the heart and soul Australia needs right now.
It begins with the best opening episode in MasterChef history.
Have a good one, mate. Oh, and have you told Tim he's not invited to your wedding?
Okay, wait.
What?
Wedding. I don't want you to take this personally, but, you know, my sister's going to be there. I know you didn't mean to spill Nan's ashes into the pool, mate. Mum was cleaning out that pool filter for weeks.
Really?
Granddad's terrified of the pool now, so it's probably best you sit this one out.
That makes total sense.
Good on you, mate.
Handle any situation in a Ranger FX4.
Suncorp has supported Queenslanders for over 100 years, and while you're staying at home, we'll help keep you covered if you're in hardship. Ask about our financial support and relief options. Visit suncorp.com.au. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Group 1 racing is at its best on day 2 of the championships. Get 10 bet returns this Saturday to use on any track, any race. So if your horse runs second or third, get your bet returned in bonus bets. Bet easy. Raise your game.
For a better way to buy garden power tools, go to your local Stihl dealer. They'll familiarise you with the tool and can get it ready to go. Find yours at stihl.com.au. Better still.
Introducing the Energizer Vision LED headlamp, featuring a powerful adjustable beam of light with our unique digital focus. It's perfect for any hands-free activities in or outside the house. Versatile and easy to use, pick up the Energizer Vision LED headlamp today.
Get the power of Tyre Power's massive Easter sale.
Great deals like purchase any 3 tyres from a selected Toyo range and get the 4th tyre free.
Get the power. Tyre Power. Get the power of Australia's biggest independent.
The new Lynx body spray range is here, now with 48-hour freshness.
48 hours, huh?
Still fresh, still fresh, still fresh, still fresh. Lynx, stay fresh for days.
Share your lockdown with the Goggle Boxes.
Hooray!
I love this show. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Tonight on 10.
Good afternoon. As we head towards the Easter long weekend, an ongoing police incident still affecting Oxley Station Road through Oxley. We'll go and check that out again shortly, but in the meantime, we'll see what's happening on Coronation Drive. Both directions appears to be moving quite nicely up and down the gateway, looking pretty good, in fact, northbound from Nudgee all the way through to the Bruce Highway. The base of the Western Freeway coming through the roundabouts, a little bit of traffic there once you get out to about Moggle Road. Out around Fig Tree Pocket Road, though, it is looking fairly good, as you can see here. Ipswich Motorway doing okay. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Thrive Meals, and Georgie, another check coming up later in the bulletin.
We'll see you again soon. Thanks, Dave. The NRL season has been given the green light to resume on May 28th, though the exact details of just how it will happen remain uncertain. But not everyone is on board. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk insists now is not the time. Emma Lawrence has the latest.
Well, we have an official start date. The NRL season will be back on the 28th of May. We don't know yet what the competition will look like. Perhaps it is a 15-round season, perhaps a little longer.
The details of the competition structure, we haven't got to that as yet, because the landscape's changing very, very quickly in terms of protocols around what governments and government boundaries are.
At this stage, it is looking like the competition will be based in Sydney, but again, that may change over the coming weeks. And it's looking like players will not have to go into this bubble situation. That is because there were serious concerns over player welfare.
If the government regulations are such that it's stringent and players aren't able to go back to their home environment, then that makes it a little difficult to expect them to stay away from their kids for.
And while Wayne Pearce was over the moon, not everyone was happy to talk about the NRL today.
It is premature to be talking about NRL at this stage. Honestly, we are in a serious stage at the moment of asking everyone to do the right thing, and I just think it is premature at this stage.
So footy fans cannot wait 6 weeks until it all begins once again.
And we'll have more on the NRL development with Jono in sport. Body-worn cameras have captured the heart-stopping moment police rescued a young boy from his burning home. The 8-year-old has made a full recovery, while the officers are quite rightly being praised as heroes.
A house alight, a young child trapped inside.
401, we've got a child inside the house apparently.
Police rush towards the inferno.
Get back, whereabouts? Get, run! Move!
Desperately, they search for the 8-year-old who succumbed to the smoke.
Go!
Time is running out as the flames take hold.
4201, there's a child inside, heavy smoke. Where? Liam, call out! Liam, call out!
The officers can't wait for firefighters to arrive.
Man, they're volleys, they're going to take a while.
Finally, Liam is found and pulled to safety.
Get him! Move! Hey, out! Got him! I got him! We got the boy!
He's given CPR and revived, taken to hospital with severe burns, flown to Perth for treatment, and in the 2 weeks since the fire has made a full recovery. The officers praised as heroes of their community.
Tremendous examples of police doing their duty. That's what the public expect, that's certainly what I expect.
Alexandra Ristway for 10 News First.
Queensland's struggling seafood suppliers are experiencing a much-needed boost this Easter. On the Gold Coast, crowds queued for hours to make sure they didn't miss out on a traditional favourite.
Catch it and they will come, especially at Easter.
About 6:20 I was lining up.
At first light, dozens queued at the Gold Coast Fishermen's Co-op to bag any fresh catch off the trawlers. The sudden spike in demand, though, left some disappointed with frozen prawns.
Always come down here early because it's usually fresh, but anyway.
Before today, the Harbour Seafood Market in Labrador was suffering under COVID-19 restrictions, with trading hours cut and staff stood down.
It's a very scary situation at the moment.
This week, though, has seen a surge in demand, meaning workers were urgently recalled. Today was their best trade in months.
I had to change it, bring more staff, increase the roster hours, and perhaps we're doing better.
While many have been forced to cancel their Easter plans, it seems seafood was one holiday favourite they couldn't go without.
Just tradition at Easter to have prawns, so yeah, just come out to get some for the weekend.
While suppliers say there's enough local seafood to go around, border restrictions have cut off imports from key markets like New Zealand, limiting some choice for buyers.
Luckily, all the fresh seafood, fish, we already have it.
And prices seem mostly unaffected, a win for consumers who may also be doing it tough.
They're terrific here, they're all good. The lady who looked after us has been doing it for the last 3-4 years. It's always good to come here.
Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
If you can't get out to buy chocolate eggs for loved ones, this might be the perfect gift. Hand sanitizer made here in Brisbane and sold at a drive-through. It's just another example of businesses adapting to COVID-19.
At a Brisbane gin distillery, it's less G&T's, more hand sanitizer, please.
There's a little bit to making a good gin that if you focus on the details with gin, you can focus on the details with hand sanitizer as well.
John Atherton has grown his team from 8 to 28, swapping spirits for sanitizer. Today, they pumped out 30,000 litres of the stuff.
We've sold around about 60,000 litres of hand sanitizer in total. We've got forward orders for another 50,000.
Great to see that we're innovating in a time of challenge to make sure that businesses can survive, that jobs can stay in place.
The distillery is now providing it to healthcare workers and major frontline organisations. It's hospital grade and 80% alcohol.
We're supplying to the Federal Police, the State Police, the ambulance, the fire, Education Department.
It's also ending up here. A practically empty car park, as more and more people work from home, has been transformed into a pop-up shop, a drive-through for hand sanitizer.
A crazy idea turned into a reality, and it's just no less crazy right now.
The Get Sanitised drive-through is on Ipswich Road at Woolloongabba. They'll be there until Sunday afternoon with special guest appearances from the Easter Bunny.
We're just doing everything we can, along with Brisbane Distilleries, to keep production volumes up so that we can get as much hand sanitiser into the hands of the people that need it.
A very different sort of alcohol to stock up on this long weekend. Georgina Hill for 10 News First.
Well, time now for an early weather check. Josh, some light showers for the southeast.
Yeah, just a few spits and spats, Georgie, as we got through Thursday. Let's check it out with the southeast radar. You can see those showers coming in on the southeasterly winds today. Nothing really large into the rain gauges. Upper Springbrook seeing the best of it, 9 millimetres into the gauge since 9 o'clock this morning. Loda Creek on the Gold Coast picked up 4 millimetres, and we did get some consistent falls of around about 1 to 5 millimetres on the sunny coast. In fact, Bells Creek picked up around about 5 into the gauges. In terms of temperatures today, well, right on average for Brisbane, hitting 27 degrees. We hit the same mark at the Gold Coast and at Logan. 26 was the top at Redcliffe, Caboolture and the sunny coast. 28 degrees at Ipswich today and 24 for the Darling Downs and Toowoomba. Of course, Easter fast approaching. Good Friday tomorrow. We'll have the extended Easter forecast coming up very shortly in the Bulletin, Georgie.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, Josh. And then there was one, the US Democratic race to the White House virtually done and dusted. The details next. Also, crisis averted. How the lockdown saved lives from a bridge collapse in Italy. And the new arrivals breaking the cycle of COVID-19.
Tonight, why the next few days could make all the difference in Australia's COVID-19 fight. All you have to do is stay home.
We'll chat to Julie Bishop, whose uni is letting disrupted Year 12 students apply with Year 11 results.
And we check in with Kate Langbrook in Italy and Ross Noble for some isolation insanity.
All that and more coming up at 6:30. We'll see you then.
I think I tasted some of the best food Australia has to offer.
That is unbelievable.
Amazing.
I love it.
You're in for a treat, Australia.
We're in for one of the best seasons in the history of this competition.
MasterChef starts Easter Monday.
Keith?
So, have you had the jab?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. Wouldn't it be nice to live together in the kind of world we belong? Wouldn't it be nice?
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app. Busy kids have energy to burn. If you want to be sure they're getting the nutrients they need to grow and thrive, shake it up with Pediasure. A delicious Pediasure health shake contains 28 essential vitamins and minerals, plus protein, pre and probiotic and omega-3, which may help support growth, immunity and a healthy appetite. Make it, shake it, love it. Kids thrive with Pediasure.
Mackenzie Aged Care has opened its brand new aged care community in the heart of Buderim. Permanent and respite care, family owned and operated. Book a tour today, 1300 899 222, or visit our website.
Your dream home can slip through your fingers without the right plan. But with home loan know-how from your local Rams home loan specialist, we'll help you take the right steps to make your dream home possible. Walk like a Ram and talk to us today. Rams, greater together.
At Palm Lake Resort Toowoomba, luxury living has a new name. Indulge a little. Take a dip in the pool, enjoy a game of tennis, or lawn bowls with friends. With exclusive access to our world-class country club and leisure facilities, there's something for everyone. Designer homes available right now. Take a virtual tour of our display homes on our website.
Palm Lake Resort. This is your time.
Keep things light and airy with delicious Smith's Poppables. Thanks for sharing, finally. One pop and you're in love.
Here's something extra from Hyundai. Right now, Hyundai's leading small cars, the i30 and Elantra, are backed with the confidence of a 7-year warranty. Because right now, we know a little goes a long way.
I'm Tammy Button. I founded My Budget to help people get through difficult times. Now more than ever, we need to consider the best way to manage our money and prepare for the unknown. Call My Budget today for your free phone appointment.
Ambulance Australia, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Almost 7 million Australians, if they haven't already, will receive hundreds of dollars in cash from the federal government. And we are already seeing the effects of that $750 stimulus payment filter through the economy. So what are we spending it on? Well, the big and the concerning one is online gambling. In the last week, that's gone up by 67%. Alcohol and tobacco has also received a boost in spending. We've gone up by about a third there. Now, with all the gyms closed, it's little surprise that spending on our fitness has almost evaporated, and with planes grounded and many working from home, travel and public transport is also down at 78%. While money spent on education and cafes has also dried up, it's declined by more than 40%. But people staying inside has seen a surge in other areas. People are treating their pets, that's gone up by 28%, and avoiding the shops and getting food delivered has gone up by 63%. We're also taking the time to get those jobs done around the house, a 64% increase in spending on home improvements. So we will be expecting it to look beautiful by the end of this. Well, let's take a look at the market. That looked a little bit beautiful as well. It closed at a 4-week high, up 3.5% to end the shortened trade week. All sectors lifted, and the banks, which took a big hit yesterday, rallied. ANZ in particular seeing a positive 6.5% change. Industrials had a good day too. Transurban leading the charge, up by more than 11%. Taking a look at the dollar now, it is down slightly against the majors, but it's buying just under 62 US cents and about 50 British pence.
Former US Vice President Joe Biden will take on Donald Trump for the White House after Bernie Sanders ended his campaign. He was losing ground in the Democratic race and says he can't go on in the midst of a pandemic. US correspondent Eamon Ashton Atkinson reports.
He may have won the battle of ideas, but Bernie Sanders couldn't win the votes. And today, the former frontrunner, not wanting to be a distraction during coronavirus, dropped out of the presidential race.
If I believed we had a feasible path to the nomination, I would certainly continue the campaign. But it's just not there.
Leaving Joe Biden as the presumptive Democratic nominee.
He didn't just run a political campaign, he created a movement.
The former vice president leads the current president in national polls, but Donald Trump's handling of the pandemic has his approval ratings up.
We're getting closer, you see the numbers, we're getting much closer to getting our country back to the way it was.
Someone not so approving, the head of the World Health Organization after Trump's threats to pull funding.
If you don't want many more body bags, then you refrain from politicizing it.
The body bags continue to pile up in New York, with 779 dead overnight, a new record. And New York State now has more infections than any other country outside the US. Flags flew at half-mast. But hospitalisations are slowing, and new modelling predicts the virus will kill 60,000 Americans, down from 90,000.
If we stop what we are doing, you will see that curve change.
Though frontline staff care little about statistics right now.
My family is my life, so it is extremely difficult to be away from them and then to not know if I'm bringing them exposing them to something.
As the number of infections in America edges close to 500,000. Eamon Ashton Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
The demand for coffins has surged in Indonesia, further fueling doubt over its official coronavirus death toll. 240 fatalities have been recorded, but coffin makers and cemetery workers believe the number is much higher. So far, less than 15,000 tests have been done across a population of nearly 270 million. Without tougher measures, Indonesian scientists predict up to 250,000 virus-related deaths by the end of April. Before and after videos have shown the remarkable transformation of Southeast Asia's notoriously congested roads. Traffic in the cities of Manila, Jakarta and Bangkok has been cut by up to 90% during corona restrictions. In some areas, travel time has been cut by almost 2 hours. Italy's lockdown appears to have prevented another tragedy, with not a single life lost in a bridge collapse. Only 2 trucks were caught up in the chaos and both drivers received only minor injuries. 43 people died the last time a bridge collapsed in the country back in 2018. 2 Peruvian women diagnosed with coronavirus have given birth to seemingly healthy newborns, but experts say they are waiting on the results of a second swab to confirm. Concerns have been raised that babies can become infected in utero, but so far there is no reliable evidence supporting that. Stay with us. Tonight's top stories follow the break. Also, medical reinforcements flown in from where the coronavirus began. And challenge accepted. Legacy launches an Anzac biscuit bake-off that you can really sink your teeth into.
TV's better. Watch together.
Hooray!
So share your lockdown with the goggle boxes.
I am, you are, in isolation, in isolation. Oh, that was nice.
At Harvey Norman, our spacious stores are open this Easter, with our team practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Shop for fridges, freezers, washers, air purifiers, laptops, Wi-Fi, headphones, home office accessories, mattresses and sofa beds. Until Easter Monday only, take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. Visit us in-store or shop online from home, with both click and collect and delivery available at Harvey Norman. Wishing you all a happy and safe Easter.
Go! Your dream home can slip through your fingers without the right plan. But with Home Loan Know-How, we'll help you take the right steps to make your dream home possible. Walk like a Ram and talk to us today. Rams, greater together.
With more than 20% protein from muscle development, Nutri-Grain is one of the highest protein cereals.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the NBN stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
Now's the perfect time to buy a Titan, because the price of steel is about to go up, and the boss has over 400 tonne of steel to clear at today's prices. But when it's gone, so get in quick. Buy this month and you also get free colour roof and walls with all buildings, plus this unreal stainless steel workbench. Don't miss out. Beat the price rise and save. And remember, Titan are the manufacturer.
Call 13 27 36 for the Titan Display Centre near you.
You'll be lucky you got a Titan.
Hey, Mom! You've wanted me forever. Carefully taking your special Forever Mom vitamins, and you created me! I love you forever, Mum.
And I love you forever, Mum.
Right now, we can't do the things we love in the places we love. So until we can all get back out on the road, please stay in and stay safe.
When you see a home loan rate this good, you might start to feel just a little more on top of things. Whether you're thinking about refinancing or buying, we're here to help and ready to talk. Search ANZ Home Loans.
I love it.
I love it.
You will love it too. MasterChef, Easter Monday.
Hello again, one last look at the roads before we head into the Easter break, and that incident we mentioned earlier, a police incident on Oxley Station Road through Oxley, still has it closed both directions. Now this is a really long road and it's closed at both ends. Still plenty of police activity in the area. There are diversions in place for the traffic in the area. There are some slight delays too heading northbound on Oxley Road. Certainly nothing to worry too much about, but we've got some busy conditions still to be had too on the Ipswich motorway heading out through that Oxley area too. I'm Dave Andrews, thanks to Thrive Meals. Have a great night tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Tonight's top story is a man fighting for life after being shot by police at Oxley. Witnesses say he was armed with a knife and got out of a vehicle after a crashing end to a carjacking. Authorities introduced tighter border restrictions as police crack down even further on unnecessary travel over Easter. And rescue flights are bringing home Australians stranded overseas, including residents caught up in the cyclone-ravaged Pacific Islands. The first flight from Wuhan has landed in Sydney after tough travel restrictions were lifted from the city where the coronavirus pandemic started. The cargo plane brought in 90 tonnes of much-needed medical supplies, including protective masks, gowns and ventilators. The crew did not have to quarantine in Australia for 2 weeks, but did self-isolate until their flight out this afternoon. A man's been winched from his yacht after it crashed into rocks off Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. The Tasmanian set sail from Melbourne, hoping to make it back to his home state, but ran into bad weather. Heavy seas and a swinging mast meant he could only be rescued by air, which proved a tough task for police.
A night winch for Pell is a difficult circumstance in any stretch. Being that we were able to do so was only done by the help from the Coast Guard, who gave very good advice at the scene, and Pell had a very experienced crew on that was able to assess the situation and be able to get a man down.
The yachtsman was taken to hospital suffering hypothermia, and while he is now safe from rough seas, he is likely to be fined for breaching COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. With an Anzac Day unlike any other fast approaching, Legacy is hoping the Aussie fighting spirit will unite all of us in the kitchen. They're launching a nationwide campaign to have us cooking up a storm while raising money for families in need.
At first glance, you might think 93-year-old Joan and teenager William wouldn't have too much, if anything, in common. But both are grateful recipients of the incredible work of Legacy.
They've just helped me, sort of get on my feet again and made me feel that I was worth something.
We've been there ever since I was 4 years old. We've been taking part in it ever since we met Legacy.
Until this year, Will proudly wore his late dad's service medals on Anzac Day. His mum Rebecca and little sister Ella also marched, both to honour and to mourn.
At 31, my friends were at that stage in their lives where they were just getting married, and for me, I was burying my husband.
Legacy's already bracing for some tough conversations with their families as April 25th approaches with no ceremonies allowed.
It's an emotional time for them, and dealing with it is going to be very, very difficult.
But Legacy doesn't want to dwell on what might have been. They're keeping the spirit burning brightly via the kitchen with its great Anzac biscuit bake-off.
We welcome more people participating, give us some great ideas on how they will commemorate Anzac and how they can commemorate Anzac through cookies.
Via an online link, people can enter as a team or on their own, competing and sharing images and videos of their tasty creations among their social media friends, while raising money for Legacy along the way.
Since it's a bake-off, I don't think I'm going to be able to do any steaks, but apart from that, I reckon I can make a pretty good muffin.
Will's pretty confident his 100 cookies creations will go close to taking first prize in this online bake-off competition, if there was a first prize. Instead, every dollar will go toward Legacy to continue its great work. There's a free downloadable cookbook on the Legacy website to inspire some great winning ideas and no doubt stir the debate, chewy or crunchy. Either way, get baking. The competition wraps up on Anzac Day. Tim Collins for 10 News First.
You'll be in the kitchen this weekend, won't you?
I reckon I will be. Yep, absolutely.
Well, it is sport time. We now know when the NRL is coming back.
We do, finally. A little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, Georgie. Halloran coming up. They plan to be back on May 28th, but there's still plenty of questions left unanswered. That's next. Plus, why Mark Leishman believes the Olympics could pay the price for the change in golf schedule. And even in a virtual race, Scott McLaughlin still dominates the supercars.
Comedian Ross Noble crosses to us from his self-ISO bunker.
Why am I coming back? I want to prove a point. I've learned a lot, my skills have improved, I'm here to take it out. I'm just an Aussie bloke who loves to cook good food, and I like to think I know what I'm doing, and I like to think I could win.
MasterChef starts 7:30 Easter Monday.
Have a good one, mate. Oh, and have you told Tim he's not invited to your wedding?
Okay, wait.
What?
Wedding. I don't want you to take this personally, but, my sister's going to be there. I know you didn't mean to spill Nan's ashes into the pool, mate. Mum was cleaning out that pool filter for weeks. Really? Granddad's terrified of the pool now, so it's probably best you sit this one out.
That makes total sense.
Good on you, mate.
Handle any situation in a Ranger FX4.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Group 1 racing is at its best on day 2 of the championships. Get 10 bet returns this Saturday to use on any track, any race. So if your horse runs second or third, get your bet returned in bonus bets. Bet easy. Raise your game.
Ladies, what's the first thing you take off when you get home? Your bra. Underwire digs, ouch, and back fat from bra straps is embarrassing. Introducing Ceramere, a bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. Look and feel Ceramere good from the front, the back, the sides, even the straps. The secret is Ceramere's double conforming lifting straps. The lace strap is a lifting wrap, just criss and cross, to be cradled in comfort and youthfully lifted. Ceramere comes with adjustable support straps, so you get double the support, double the comfort, and double the smoothness, all without underwire. Ceramere gives you 360 degrees of soft, breathable fabric, designed with front and back cooling mesh ventilation, so hot air flows out and fresh air flows in.
I'm literally obsessed with this bra. It is super functional and super comfortable. Feels like I'm wearing nothing. I mean, look at it. Love it.
That's a bra that your body is supposed to fit. This is a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Ceramere fits all shapes and supports all sizes. A bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. So no more cutting straps, no more poking underwire, and no more unsightly back fat. Call Global Shop Direct or go online to order Ceramere in your choice of black, white or nude for the low price on your screen. Want even more value? Upgrade your order and save with our Value 3-pack. You'll get one black, one white and one nude bra and save an amazing $70. If Ceramere isn't the most comfortable, soft bra you've ever worn, just send it back within 30 days for a full refund of the product price. Finally, a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Order Ceramere today.
Share your lockdown with the Goggle Boxes.
Hooray! I love this show. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Tonight on 10.
Tonight's Sport Report is brought to you by the Ford Ranger FX4. Ready to handle any situation.
Good evening. The NRL has set the date, May 28, to relaunch the competition, but the code has had a massive falling out with TV Bright's broadcast holder, the Nine Network, who publicly accused them of gross mismanagement and wasting many millions of dollars. Here's Emma Lawrence with the game's boss.
Yes, thank you very much. I've got the chairman of the commission, Peter V'landys, with me. Peter, they said July 1 was ambitious, but you've got May 28. You must be stoked.
Look, we're over the moon because we want a roadmap, and in order to do the roadmap, we need a commencement date. And the 28th of May is very achievable. It's ambitious, but achievable. And you know, the infection rate has gone down from 22% down to 1.43% here in New South Wales. And our two main criteria are that we're safe for the community and we're safe for the players. And I think by the time we start, we'll meet those criteria.
Still need to work out how many rounds we're going to be playing across the season and whether or not they'll purely be based in Sydney. But is it safe to assume this bubble idea is now out the window and players can come home to their families?
Absolutely. Look, we trust our players, and as long as they continue to, you know, meet the social measures that have been put in place, the social distances, etc., and they don't interact with the community, I think there's little risk, and we'll have the harshest biosecurity measures at the venues where they train and where they play. So the risk will be minimal, and by the time we start on the 28th of May, you know, the infection rate should be a lot lower because the governments have done a great job in bringing it down so much in such a short period of time.
Slight hiccup with the negotiations today, but we got there eventually with Channel 9 coming out having a few harsh words. Are you confident you do have the full support of your broadcasters? Look,
I'm confident we'll come to a deal with our broadcasters. They've been good partners and they'll continue to be good partners. And as I said, if we walk away that we both think we're both unhappy, that means we've done a good deal. So I'm very, very pleased with, you know, the way things are progressing, and I'm sure the broadcasters will see our view.
Well, you guys have done a tremendous job on the commission. Peter V'landys, really appreciate your time, and we all cannot wait for the footy to begin in 7 weeks' time.
Emma Lawrence reporting there. The Olympics could be the casualty in golf's new crowded calendar, with pros now scheduled to play 7 majors in 12 months. Mark Leishman feels some players may choose rest and recovery over Tokyo, but the world number 15 says he won't be one of them.
Back when live sport was a regular thing, Mark Leishman was in the sort of form that had him feeling ready to contend if the Masters had gone ahead this week.
Down Leishman with a huge 4 at 11.
But now, instead of fighting for a green jacket, he's battling boredom.
Hard not to just go to the fridge and, you know, grab a snack or a beer or whatever. So trying to keep that under control too.
Without golf to put the fire in his belly, the Victorian's instead taken the torch to his pride and joy, the lawn.
So I didn't do the front, so I didn't want to look too crazy. But so I cut it down, and there was about 100 garbage bags of grass that I had to cart away. From the back, there was none because I burned it.
Still living in the USA, Leishman is in the heart of the coronavirus crisis, and his Begin Again Foundation is doing their bit to help out, delivering food to hospitals in Virginia Beach and providing masks to local supermarket workers.
So just little things that maybe can help people's lives or reduce a bit of stress, or nothing huge, but we're doing what we can.
The PGA Tour is planning to return in May.
To get back to 2 in front.
Yes. Then will come a major squeeze that could stop some from backing up at the Tokyo Olympics.
Yes, that there is a possibility of that, but not for me. If I'm on the team, I'll be there, definitely.
The Warrnambool product is also committed to the Australian Open, despite the congested calendar.
It is going to be tight. I mean, I'll do everything I can to get back, yes, particularly with it being in Melbourne.
Tim Morgan for 10 News First.
The good news is no one was injured, and the teams won't be doing repairs all night after the start of the Supercars All-Stars E-Series. Drivers described it as an intense experience, even though they were in the comfort of their own lounge rooms. Panel beaters would have gone on strike if it wasn't a simulation. There was complete mayhem when they hit Monza for race 3. Scott McLaughlin found it almost as much fun beating the competition in the virtual world.
And I hope everyone at home enjoyed it, because I really think this is going to be cool, and it's a good interim thing that we can do in the meantime while we wait for our real racing again.
McLaughlin won 2 of the 3 races and then sprayed champagne to celebrate on his balcony. With beaches closing around the world, we're amped to show you these swell entries into the World Surf League's Home Break Challenge. In many cases, skateboards have replaced surfboards as they've created some genius ways to ride a barrel.
That was ridiculous. I might even throw that into the redonkulous category. I mean, absolutely amazing.
This is kind of the event that you would like to have pretty much every time, right?
to have Carissa in the final, it's a dream for me.
Very good indeed. For all those gnarly creations, it's 10 points from the judges and they can surf or skate away with our play of the day. Between cooking, Georgia, you might try that as well, I reckon.
Amazing what you can do with a tarp, isn't it?
Very creative.
Thanks, Jono. Will there be sunny skies this Easter? Josh has all the details next.
We check in on Kate Langbrook's isolation in Italy, 6:30.
I think I tasted some of the best food Australia has to offer. Mind-blowing.
That is flawless.
We're in for one of the best seasons in the history of this competition.
MasterChef starts 7:30 Easter Monday.
Have a good one, mate. Oh, and have you told Tim he's not invited to your wedding?
Okay, bye.
What? Wedding?
I don't want you to take this personally, but, you know, my sister's going to be there. I know you didn't mean to spill Nan's ashes into the pool, mate. Mum was cleaning out that pool filter for weeks.
Really?
Granddad's terrified of the pool now, so it's probably best you sit this one out.
That makes total sense.
Good on you, mate.
Handle any situation in a Ranger FX4.
The new Lynx body spray range is here, now with 48-hour freshness.
48 hours, huh?
Still fresh, still fresh, still fresh, still fresh. Lynx, stay fresh for days.
Doc is an emotional intelligence expert. When it comes to value, Doc likes to pay the right price for the right product. That's why he likes Yui. You can tailor your premium so you pay the right price. Yui, you insured.
Pay less every day at The Good Guys. Up to 20% off a huge range of KitchenAid appliances. $500 off this Acer laptop. This Dyson vacuum only $447. This 65-inch TV only $595. Loads more online in our catalogue. Only at The Good Guys.
Tic Tac, refresh every little moment.
Life's all about overcoming hurdles, on or off the track. That's why when it comes to looking after my body, I believe in being body smart. Nature's Own joints and muscle products help to relieve mild joint pain and support muscle function. Be body smart with Nature's Own.
Available for a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
Group 1 racing is at its best on day 2 of the championships. Get 10 bet returns this Saturday to use on any track, any race. So if your horse runs second or third, get your bet returned in bonus bets. Bet easy. Raise your game.
In 1 week, a lot will happen in your life. Who has time for wrinkles? Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair's derm-proven retinol works so fast, it takes only 1 week to reveal younger-looking skin. Neutrogena.
She's a princess.
Oh, aren't they all?
Whether you're into romance, budding bromance,
Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
or dudes with no chance, there's a bit of Disney Plus in all of us.
Ambulance Australia, 7:30 tonight on 10.
It's Easter weekend, so join us for a hopping good time. We'll bring you easy treats to whip up with the kids.
And an old school workout to work off those eggs.
And catch up with some of the biggest stars on the planet.
Join us for a special Good Friday edition of Studio 10 tomorrow from 8 a.m.
It is weather time. Josh, will the Easter Bunny get wet this weekend?
Well, Georgie, we could see a morning shower or two as we get through Friday, but I think the Easter Bunny will be saved this Easter. It looks like sunny skies will prevail over Saturday, Sunday and Monday. We'll get to that Easter forecast in just a few moments as we check the weather across parts of the city today, where today we reached 27 degrees, which is bang smack on average for this time of year. after an overnight low of 20. Right now, very comfortable out there. We're sitting on 23 degrees, humidity at 64%, and the winds relatively light at 11 kilometres per hour. Diving into the satellite picture, in and across parts of Australia, quite a bit of cloud coming in and across areas of northern Australia, through western parts of Queensland, and also along the east coast. You get a great illustration here of the difference between high cloud and low cloud. The bright white colour is the high cloud, and that grey murky image you can see here along the east coast, that's low cloud, and that's coming in on those southeasterly onshore winds along the Queensland coast. Today we picked up a couple of millimetres around Mackay, and inland from Innisfail we did see around about 10 millimetres fall, but for the southeast it was relatively light on during Thursday. As we take a look at these showers breezing in and across areas of the coast, areas like Upper Springbrook, inland from the Gold Coast there picking up 9 millimetres, Loder Creek 4 millimetres into the gauge, and further north up around the sunny coast, Bells Creek picked up 5 since 9 a.m. As you can see, those showers just starting to back off as we get through Thursday evening. Having a look at the big picture tomorrow though, in and across parts of the nation, a high pressure system will maintain its position in the Tasman Sea, still directing those onshore winds along the Queensland coast. And the other weather feature we do have at the moment is an elongated area of low pressure, better known as a trough, and that will maintain its position through the western areas of the state tomorrow. So that trough, it could spark up the odd shower and thunderstorm as we get through Thursday, in particular through areas of the southern inland. You can see that here on screen, in particular around areas of the New South Wales Queensland border, probably hitting areas of the Maranoa and Warrego, and a slight chance that some of those showers could push in to areas of the southeast inland. But for the onshore winds, well, they'll be a feature again throughout our eastern districts, in particular for the coastal exposed areas. So the southern coast, a slight chance, a little bit further north up around the Wide Bay Central Coast, and even the northeast coast and Herbert and Low Burdekin, a slight chance of seeing a shower tomorrow. But any showers to those eastern areas will be relatively light. Interstate, Sydney looking at 22 degrees and the chance of a shower tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies for Melbourne and 23. Adelaide hitting the same mark with the chance of a shower for Thursday, and another hot day for Perth. They've seen a few days in a row of hot temperatures, no different for Good Friday, and Darwin going for 30 degrees with the chance of a shower or storm. For Cairns tomorrow, tops off 30 degrees, chance of a shower for Townsville, but fine for Atherton. Mount Isa going for 33, Longreach 34 and 29 for Roma. The chance of a shower as well for Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. Rockies should be essentially dry with a top of 28. Into the southeast, we're looking at a partly cloudy day. The medium chance of showers, most likely in the late morning and afternoon. Overnight temperatures falling to between 15 and 19 degrees. Daytime temperatures reaching the mid to high 20s. We're going for 27 at the Gold Coast, 26 on the sunny coast and 27 degrees at Logan. Out on the bay for Good Friday, we're looking at easterly winds 10 to 15 knots and those seas below 1 metre. For Brisbane City, we're looking at top temperatures of 27 degrees. As mentioned, just the chance of a morning shower or two. I think you'll find the afternoon and evening will be dry. Over the coming days, well, it looks good for Saturday, 31 degrees, partly cloudy skies, sunny on Sunday, and Easter Monday looking good with a top of 27. Into Ipswich, just the chance of a shower tomorrow. Most areas should remain dry, 28 degrees the top, 31 on Saturday, 28 on Sunday and Easter Monday. But the extended forecast for this Easter for the Golden Sunshine Coast coming up shortly.
The shooting of a man by police at Oxley leads our bulletin tonight. Officers were forced to open fire after he threatened one of them with a knife following a dramatic carjacking in front of stunned witnesses. Our border bans have just got tougher, and so has the warning that's come with them. Police say anyone thinking of heading interstate for Easter should think again. And the Prime Minister has just released a message for us all. We'll have that from Canberra. We're going to go straight back to Chris Campy now, who's at the police scene in Oxley. Chris, what's the condition update on the suspect?
Georgie, the man we understand to be in his early 40s remains in a critical condition at the PA hospital where he was taken from this scene, but he is currently undergoing surgery. Of course, he suffered multiple gunshot wounds to the torso, so that surgery is likely to go on for some time. Of course, this was the result of a terrifying rampage that took place here in Oxley late this afternoon.
It's the worst case scenario for a traffic cop, alone in his car, confronted by a man wielding a knife, forced to shoot.
The firearm was a last resort, but police will use a firearm when it comes to defending the lives of themselves and others as well.
What was initially a report of a traffic crash quickly escalated. A young man in an allegedly stolen car slammed into another on Oxley Station Road around 2. The driver at fault then leapt from his damaged car and tried to jack 2 others.
Yeah, he sort of jumped out of the car pretty quick, and we were quick to notice that he had a pretty big knife on him.
A male bystander who stepped in to protect a young female got him between her and the attacker. He was struck by the second vehicle the man tried to steal. Police say the agitated, knife-wielding man then fled on foot.
Yeah, and he come running down here. He nearly got run over by a car. There's cars coming up this side of the road, and I thought he was going to hit by a car because at one stage I think he was trying to get in the car.
The lone road policing command officer who had responded confronted the suspect in a park near Oxley Road. He tried to negotiate. When that didn't work, he drew his taser. Still, the man charged the officer, knife in hand. The policeman opened fire with his sidearm, landing multiple shots in the torso.
The last briefing I have is that the man is alive but in a very serious condition.
Officers arriving at the scene conducted first aid before an ambulance arrived. The man was taken to hospital in a critical condition. Ethical standards investigators remain at the scene, examining everything that occurred in a short, terrifying time.
Now, of course, any officer involved in an incident such as this is provided instant counselling and support, as this officer will be. We're told he's a very experienced member of the Road Policing Command, and certainly one who has been part of that unit for some years. Tonight, an extensive contingent of police remain at this scene. They've been going through the grass in the parkland where this incident took place. The report that they prepare will be presented to the Ethical Standards Command.
Thank you, Chris, live there at Oxley. Tighter border controls will begin tomorrow night as authorities clamp down even further on unnecessary travel over Easter. As state political reporter Claire Barnes explains, it's all to keep Queenslanders on the right track.
We've been given our final warning ahead of the long weekend as police prepare to ramp up their presence at the border, along our beaches and on highways. From midnight tomorrow, all Queensland residents will need a permit to get back into the state. There are tougher rules too for anyone who's travelled through certain hotspots in New South Wales, like Greater Sydney. They will have to go into 2 weeks quarantine with no exceptions. Today, police warned they will also be targeting non-essential travel around the southeast, particularly those holiday makers hoping to get to the Gold and Sunshine Coast. Now, that will include doing rego checks to identify where drivers are from.
So if people are thinking that the Gold Coast is a bit harder, so I'm going to all head to the North Coast, they shouldn't assume that there won't be police up there also checking their movements up there.
All major car parks at Sunshine Coast beaches from Maroochydore to Noosa will also close.
It's effectively locals only. If you can't walk there, don't get in your car to get there.
Overnight, Queensland recorded just 10 new cases of coronavirus, but the Premier says we're still a long way from easing any restrictions.
It seems the stay-at-home message fell on the deaf ears of one New South Wales minister. Don Harwin was caught out at his holiday home on the Central Coast, just over an hour north of Sydney. He says he's been staying at the property for health reasons, but police are now investigating if he's broken the law.
I will, through my minister, ask for an explanation. If it doesn't stack up, I'll give him a ticket happily.
It doesn't matter what position you hold, it doesn't matter who you are. Nobody is above the law, nobody is above these rules.
Mr Harwin has been ordered to return to his Sydney home. New South Wales police have boarded the Ruby Princess and seized evidence, including the ship's black box. Officers were wearing several layers of protective clothing and gas masks when they went aboard at Port Kembla last night. The data recorder will be central to the investigation and may hold copies of communications between the ship and its shore teams. Criminal investigators are looking into whether operators downplayed the number of cases on board before docking in Sydney last month. Australia has recorded another death from coronavirus, but we are making some good inroads on the rate of infection. There are just over 6,100 confirmed cases across the country. New South Wales tops the list again for the most number of new cases, with 39 diagnoses. But overall, there are slightly less new cases compared with this time yesterday, and that means we are flattening the curve and social distancing is working. So we're being encouraged to keep at it. sport. The first hurdle for the PM's $130 billion wage bailout was getting it passed through Parliament. The job now is to get it into more people's pockets and quickly. Political editor Peter Van Onselen has this special report from Canberra.
As most Australians turned in for the night, history was being made in the Senate.
I move that the bill be now read a third time.
Today I visited the two ministers responsible for ensuring Australia's biggest ever bailout gets the job done. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg and Finance Minister Matthias Cormann.
The $130 billion price tag is like nothing this country's ever seen. It will take years to pay back, but it's also absolutely necessary.
I mean, it is all about helping as many businesses remain in business as possible and getting as many Australians safely to the other side in their job.
And as John Howard said to me, when there is an economic crisis, ideological constraints go out the door. And so we have taken that advice and we are delivering to the Australian people at their time of need.
If we had not done the work over the last 6.5 years to fix up the budget, we would have gone into this crisis in a much weaker position.
This is all about building the bridge to the recovery, and the JobKeeper payment is that economic bridge.
I mean, we've had 750,000 businesses that have already registered their interest to participate. I mean, about 6 million Australians will end up taking part in this program. I mean, that is nearly half the working population.
An enormous amount of money is going out across the economy. Already we're seeing those $750 payments to pensioners and carers and people with a Commonwealth Seniors Health Card, or indeed people on family tax benefits. They're all benefiting from the government spending during this period.
There's little doubt that implementing the $130 billion JobKeepers package will be complex. Kevin Rudd and Wayne Swan were praised for their stimulus spending during the GFC. That is, until some of the money was squandered. The implementation of this is going to be crucial, isn't it?
Well, the policy development is one thing, but the delivery and the implementation is another, and that's where our focus is from here on.
Peter Van Onselen, from a safe social distance, for 10 News First.
The Prime Minister has delivered a powerful Easter message, reassuring us all that not even the coronavirus will steal the spirit of this long weekend. For Christians, it's still the most important few days of the year, and for everyone, it's a chance to be with our families where we can.
The coronavirus means this Easter will be different, and we will be staying at home. And it's important because we cannot undo the tremendous progress we have made together in recent times. So this Easter, we are staying at home. Don't travel. Don't go away. For Christians, not being able to gather does not diminish the hope that we have through this important Easter period. This year, we will live out our faith by doing the right thing. That means staying at home, making sure we're checking on our neighbours and supporting our communities and families, our friends. That's what living our faith is all about. So as we go into this Easter long weekend, whatever your religious views might be, I do wish you a happy Easter, Australia.
While many traditions are off the table this Easter, the annual rush on seafood isn't one of them. As Matthew Howard explains, it's throwing a lifeline to an industry all at sea in this pandemic.
For weeks, Queensland seafood suppliers have been suffering after COVID-19 restrictions triggered a downturn in demand. But today, customers who've been stuck in isolation came out in droves, carefully, to ensure they get their share for the Easter long weekend.
Just tradition at Easter to have prawns, so yeah, just come out to get some for the weekend.
Harbour Seafood Market in Labrador had previously reduced its trading hours and stood down staff. The holiday rush, though, meant the owners had to urgently recall workers and bolster their supply.
Thank God everything is going a little bit better, not than we expect from last year, but better than we expected.
This morning, dozens queued at the Gold Coast Fishermen's Co-op to land their catch directly from the trawlers. Some were surprised, though, to discover their prawns had been frozen.
Always come down here early because it's usually fresh, but anyway.
Border restrictions mean supplies from international markets like New Zealand are very limited, but fishmongers say there's plenty of local stock and prices are good.
They seem to be the same. I didn't see any increase in price.
While this boost in demand is welcome, it will likely be short-lived for businesses struggling to keep their heads above water in the ongoing lockdown.
Coming up, why Donald Trump could hold the key to freeing the Tiger King from his cage. Also, students all ears during a virtual visit from the Royals. Plus, going to great heights to deliver an excellent surprise to our seniors. And in sport, the boxer lending a hand to a long-term supporter who's battling cancer.
Tonight, the easiest way to save a life this Easter long weekend. Plus, how disrupted Year 12s can still get into uni. See you tonight at 6:30.
MasterChef starts 7:30 Easter Monday.
4 days to go.
When you see a home loan rate this good, you might start to feel just a little more on top of things. Whether you're thinking about refinancing or buying, we're here to help and ready to talk. Search ANZ Home Loans.
It's Tab's 42 days of deals at Randwick and Caulfield this Saturday on races 1 to 6. If your horse runs second or third, get a bonus bet back up to $50. Check the app for more great deals. Tab, long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jeanette Young. Queensland is well prepared to deal with the coronavirus. We are tripling the emergency department capacity and doubling the number of ICU beds. We're enlisting extra doctors and nurses, boosting telehealth and buying more equipment. As part of our response, we also need to postpone some work. You may need to wait longer for procedures and appointments that aren't urgent to clear a path for Queenslanders who need emergency care. You can help by following the latest advice about social distancing to protect yourself and your loved ones. Stay home when you can and save lives. If we all work together, we will slow the spread. Thank you.
Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
Drakes would like to assure you that we're working to get stock into stores. During these unprecedented times, we ask that you show love, respect and patience to your fellow shoppers and our team.
We really do appreciate your support.
Felix, my ribbon. You clever cat. You want your doubly delicious.
2 irresistible flavours in one delicious meal. Felix, as good as it looks, doubly delicious. Double the flavour, double the taste.
The Sporting Globe is still open for business. All of our classics, including buffalo wings, parmas and burgers, are available for takeaway or delivery. We need your support now more than ever, so our staff can be there for you. Bring the good times home from the Sporting Globe.
Get ready for 5G at a 4G price. Purchase the brand new Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus 5G and save $300 over 12, 24 or 36 months. Ready?
Don't let this great offer pass you by. Get paid the best towed price on all Exactas, Quinellas, Trifectas, First Fours and Quaddies every Saturday in Melbourne and Sydney this autumn carnival. Bet easy. Raise your game.
Huddling at home? Try Domino's new Chicken Palmy on Deep Pan. With 22 succulent chicken pieces and crispy rasher bacon from just $15 delivered. Order now with total peace of mind thanks to zero contact delivery from Domino's.
TV's better. Watch together.
Hooray!
So share your lockdown with the Goggle Boxes.
I am, you are, in isolation, in isolation.
Oh, that was nice.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is said to be sitting up in bed and engaging positively with medics after another night in intensive care. But as his condition improves, it just gets worse for the UK, with 938 corona deaths in a single day.
As the man leading Britain's coronavirus response finishes his 3rd night in intensive care,
Good, okay, you're getting stronger.
His country is reeling from a 24-hour death toll on par with Italy and Spain's worst days.
It's the personal cost of what's happening to patients, which is just devastating sometimes.
In London, a field hospital built in 9 days has just started taking patients, taking some pressure off ICU wards where ambulance vans just keep coming. And nearly every patient has COVID-19.
I have felt times where my body has been willing
to just give up completely.
Government ministers and their medical advisors are at pains to point out the UK's infection curve is flattening, but right now it's hard to be optimistic, especially as Brits are told to prepare for the nationwide lockdown to extend until the end of the month.
Hello, Harris.
Hi, Harris.
The Royals are doing their best to boost morale. William and Kate surprising a school for the children of frontline workers.
A huge thank you to you guys and well done in keeping it all going.
They're doing an amazing job.
While political leaders launch a stay-at-home for Easter campaign.
Well, please, you've got to stick with it. Don't let up now.
As the country waits and hopes for better days to return. Gillian Bowen for 10 News First.
Bernie Sanders has pulled out of the presidential race. The Vermont senator says he doesn't want to be a distraction as the country fights the coronavirus pandemic. Joe Biden welcomed the move and praised his one-time opponent.
He didn't just run a political campaign, he created a movement. And that's a good thing for the nation and for our future.
Despite hospital admissions falling overnight, the virus claimed another 779 lives in New York. The biggest hit on Netflix has made it all the way to the White House. The star of Tiger King, Joe Exotic, is serving 22 years jail for animal abuse and for hiring someone to kill rival zoo owner and co-star Carol Baskin. Donald Trump's son joked yesterday perhaps the president should take a look at the case.
Are you recommending a pardon?
No, I'm not advocating anything.
As a reporter, you're not allowed to do that. You'd be criticised by these. Would you recommend a pardon?
I'm not weighing in on Tiger King.
I don't think you would. I don't think you would. Go ahead. You have a question? I'll take a look. Is that Joe Exotic? That's Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic spoke to Netflix soon after Don Jr.'s comments, saying he just wants to get out of jail a free man. Look who's popped in to brighten the day for some senior citizens on the Sunshine Coast. The Easter Bunny went to great heights to deliver some eggs while, of course, ensuring the appropriate social distancing. Behind the costume was Anita Breen, and her 88-year-old mum is behind the glass at the Opal Aged Care Centre. The cherry picker was even donated to pull off what was no doubt a sweet surprise in more ways than one. Isn't that lovely, John?
Absolutely.
Over to you now.
Thank
More
you, Georgie.
sport.
Hello again. The NRL has locked in May 28 as the date to restart its 2020 competition. After that, details get a bit sketchy, and today the game also copped a verbal backhander from one of its broadcast partners.
It's game on, almost.
Well, on behalf of the ARL Commission, I'm pleased to announce that we're planning a competition start on May 28th.
Called Project Apollo, this was nearly as hard as landing on the moon.
Due to the infection rate, when we stopped play, we were going to self-isolate back then, and the infection rate was 22.5%. Today, it's 1.43% in New South Wales.
It was a marathon of meetings at NRL headquarters today. First up, the team, which was headed up by Wayne Pearce. The Bunnies super coach, Wayne Bennett, joined them for the 4-hour meeting, which was then followed up by a hookup with club CEOs, coaches and players before the Commission ran their eye over the master plan late this afternoon.
There's a whole lot of people ringing me up saying, when are the competition going to start again? There's a lot of people that will be happy with the decision to get the competition up and running again.
But the finer details are still to be worked out. That's because the coronavirus is fast moving and much of the decision making is being dictated by government advice.
It will feed into the complexity of the structure and how the structure looks.
So here's how it appears it will look. The start date is set. May 28 is kickoff. From there, it's likely to be a 15-game regular season with 2 already played. All teams set to be stationed in New South Wales. State of Origin will be mid-season and a traditional 8-team final series likely to follow. A grand final sometime in early October. Having the players cooped up in a bubble loomed as a major issue for the game's return.
The welfare issue, having to be away from home for an extended and prolonged period of time, is a significant factor that we've got to address.
But those in Sydney will get to stay at home while league bosses work on a solution for out-of-town teams.
So if we were going to self-isolate at 22%, it doesn't make any sense to put them in a bubble when it's only 1.43%.
We've been upfront that we see this as a 6-month process.
It's 7 weeks until kick-off and the game's chairman couldn't be more excited. Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
With boxing gyms still closed, Brisbane slugger Liam Parrow is combining an act of kindness with also staying fit. With his coach keeping a close eye, Parrow spent the morning mowing the lawn of a long-time supporter who's battling cancer.
Well, it means that I can pay the electricity, it helps towards groceries, and also without the physical capacity to actually do these things as you age, it's so good that the young fellas from the gym offer.
There's a few other lawns we do too, it's just the little things, you know, like help doing this for free, and just it's my way of giving back to the people that support.
At 19-0, Parrow's hopeful his next fight will be for a world title. Good to see some people out there doing some good things, Georgina.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Thank you, Jono. Well, coming up, Josh has the extended Easter forecast next.
Years ago, Australia fell in love with MasterChef, and a worldwide phenomenon was born.
In the history of this competition, we've never seen such a cluster of talent.
Easter Monday, Australia's delicious new season begins.
That is unbelievable. I love it.
This is what food can do. It connects us, it's emotional.
It begins with the best opening episode in MasterChef history.
We are going to create something really special.
MasterChef starts 7:30 Easter Monday.
Don't let this great offer pass you by. Get paid the best tote price on all exactas, quinellas, trifectas, first fours and quaddies every Saturday in Melbourne and Sydney this autumn carnival. Bet easy. Raise your game.
Compensation claims are messy, but with Gouldson Legal, they don't have to be. Find legal jargon overwhelming? All good. We'll translate it for you. Not sure which way to go? No worries. We'll guide you. What about legal fees? Easy. Gouldson does it no win, no fee. 30% max. And telling your story? Don't stress. We'll look after you. Compensation claims made easy. Gouldson Legal.
Hey folks, every community is doing it tough, so check on the elderly and only buy what you need. Be kind to our amazing IGA team who are doing all they can, and remember to keep soap.
I can.
Clean.
Southern coast, the wide bay, central coast, northeast coast, but any falls or two. Finding up for Easter Saturday and staying that way Sunday and Monday for Ipswich. Just a slight chance of a shower tomorrow, essentially dry for Good Friday. We have to stay indoors this weekend, Georgia, but maybe we can get into the backyard with our loved ones.